So for those of you who have been on this channel before and are subscribed, welcome back. And for those of you who are just stopping by for the first time, welcome in. Appreciate you checking us out. In our last video, we had a leak over here over this injector. It was bright green, looked like coolant, smelt like gas. So we replaced the O-rings on the injectors. Here's the fuel rail right here. If you have not seen that video, go check that out. The leak went away. It didn't smell like gas anymore. These back two injectors over here were missing O-rings, so we got those replaced, and it seemed like the gas leak was good to go. I got all my coils and injectors over here, got some stuff over here. So what we're doing today is I let it sit for a couple days. So first thing I did was I turned it on, I revved it, everything was good, because we also replaced these battery terminals over here with these quick releases, and they work pretty good, especially for the price. So what had happened was when I revved it, turned it on, let it idle, all that, nothing happened, we were good to go. Seemed like all the leaks were gone. And then a couple days later I came and I checked it out, and there was still a green puddle. Now that green puddle of coolant did not smell like gas anymore, so I knew that we solved that gas leak, but now we still have the issue with the coolant leak because we really didn't do anything to stop that. So what I did is I took this intake manifold off because this heat return hose right here is metal, and that seems to be a common problem on the 4.62 valve that was mass produced, put in a lot of different vehicles in the 90s and early 2000s from Ford. And that seems to be a common problem of where coolant leaks occur. So especially in older cars, right? Because, you know, this car's 26 years old now. So when I popped off this intake manifold, there was a huge puddle of coolant just sitting probably 2 inches deep. I mean, you can see the lines right there of where that came up to, right? I'm gonna go ahead and pop a picture of that up on the screen right now. So I don't think that there was a leak in the intake manifold, although there very well could have been. But today I have a new heat return line right here from CJ Power Parts, driven by enthusiasts, okay? Leave this bad boy apart for a while because if you've been keeping up with the channel, then you know that I want to get this thing drifting by the time of Import Alliance Summer 2026 meet. I want to get it on the track. I got it for a great deal, traded a pretty hoopty vehicle for it. So I think that it worked out good in my favor, but essentially I want to go ahead, get this thing put together right. There's no reason that it's even going to need to run for the next year. Probably won't take us that long to fix everything on it. There's not a whole lot that needs to be done still. The finish line's kind of in sight. Originally, I had planned on just making this a budget build, get it going, get it sideways as cheap as possible. I started taking things apart, and I'm like, you know what? I might as well put it back together right. For example, the intake manifold, I do have another one that was in the trunk along with some long tube headers. So I figured I would go ahead and put the new one on. It's a performance one anyway, an aftermarket one. Gonna put the headers on in the future. Gonna go ahead and do a tubular K-member because they're not extremely expensive, and why not stiffen it up a little bit, make it lighter, and of course more room to work with that tubular K-member. Put some headers on there, try to get a little bit more power, try to get a little bit more sound out of it. And then I figured, while I'm at it, might as well replace the throttle body here. A little bit bigger one, try to get a little bit more power, a little bit more air going. Now, if you watched the last one, we replaced the battery terminals. We took off the corroded ones, put on some fresh ones, and we still have an issue with the battery light coming on. I did suspect the alternator as the issue, and then this is the alternator wire, so it did burn through. You saw that in the last video. If you haven't seen the last video, I'm just going to reiterate. It burnt through this rubber piece because it got so hot. I took it around the block and that was smoking. Now here's the screw that went in the top, and that definitely needs to be replaced. That kind of got like shimmed off. I don't think that it was originally that small. So we had to take the alternator out for the intake manifold anyway, had to take the throttle body out for the intake manifold anyway. So So might as well upgrade that and then replace that alternator. I will take that down to the parts house and get it tested to see if it actually has an issue or if it's the wire. I do hear that these alternator wires have problems from time to time, especially as it gets older, so we might end up having to change that out. I don't really know much about wiring. I'm not a mechanic, you know, I just kind of make it up as I go and throw that content out for you guys because, you know, everything I learn, everything I do, I learn how to do just by doing it. So yeah, and it's fun and it's cheap and it's not really a project car if you just pay people to work on it, right? And these engines were so mass produced, there's a video on literally everything. So like, go out there, wrench on your cars, you know? But yeah, it's a possibility that this alternator wire needs to be replaced. It looks like it's in good condition except for that rubber piece right here. So today we're gonna go ahead, dive into it, get this heat return line taken care of, and we'll leave it apart. I'm eventually going to go ahead and just swap out all the injectors. I mean, they're not that expensive. Some of these don't look horrible, but like, might as well, right? They're cheap. Gonna go with some OEM injectors just to make sure that it's running right. We're gonna go ahead and swap all the coils. Some of these look decent, and then some of these are in desperate need of being replaced. So yeah, we'll get that taken care of, and I figured a new set of spark plugs might as well. You know, it's not gonna hurt anything, just gonna make the thing run better. They've had coolant and gas leaking into them. They're pretty old. This thing should be running right after that, and then we'll go ahead and worry about, you know, getting the interior gutted and getting new rotors on here, getting new brake pads, maybe an angle kit, hydro brake. As you can see, these rotors need to be replaced, and then the car will be like pretty much complete. So that's why I'm saying that the finish line is in sight. I'm gonna do a full gut of the interior here just for weight reduction, because we're gonna do a full race car. Probably gonna put a decent sized cage in the back because there are some economical options available. And then we're gonna get this steering wheel replaced with a nice little quick release, get the seats taken out, throw in at least one racing seat. If we have time, then we'll throw a second one in there, and then she'll be about done. Got the new heat return line here. It's metal, and then you just got to think, like, the metal corrodes over time. It's been a while. The company was Dorman OE Solutions, and then that's the company that made the product. So we're gonna give them a shot. I did not see any instructions on here, so I don't really think it's too complicated. We're just gonna take the old one off, put the new one on. That's kind of what I've been doing with all the vehicles that I've been working on so far. Take the old part off, put the new part on, and use common sense, and for the most part, everything seems to be a pretty straightforward process. All right, well, taking a look, we might have to get a new rubber piece for the front part right here, which is gonna go in this end. And then it looks like there's a screw in the back on the side that I cannot reach. So we'll see if we can get a ratchet in there, but we're gonna take it one step at a time. And where we're gonna start is this hose clamp right here that this is all connected to. There's one in the back, so we're gonna take some pliers and hope for the best that we could get this off, and then get that screw taken off, probably pull this out, and then put the new piece back together. It's also worth noting that I have dropped quite a bit of stuff while working on this particular vehicle. Now it's typically been towards the front, so being a 99 Mustang GT, it's all been pretty easy stuff to retrieve, except for the 7mm that's sitting in the front bumper that we'll get back at some point in our lives. But I'm gonna try very hard to not drop a pair of pliers behind the engine, because that one might be a little bit more difficult to retrieve. All right, when in doubt, we use brute force around here. You know, we fight the car a little bit, car fights us back. But all is fair in love and war, and this is war, but we also love it. Believe it or not, I think that might have been the easy part, because now we got to get, or attempt to get, to whatever bolt is holding it in place in the backside there. All right. So now that we got this off and disconnected from right here, this goes in like that, and it's got a bolt right here, and I know that because this is the new one that'll set in like that, and it gets bolted into place. You see what I'm saying right there? With that being said, I'm not quite sure what size I'm looking at here, and don't you just love the fact that you got absolutely no room at all? Be nice if I could get that DeWalt in there. That's also not good because I can feel the screw with my finger here. Hello. Sticking out probably about an inch. So I need, if it is a 10 mil, I need a deep socket. And I don't even know if, first of all, I don't think I have one. Well, I do, I got the impact, but secondly, I don't think that a deep socket is gonna fit back in here, because I mean, that's the room we're working with. Between that red firewall right there and that finger, there's probably maybe 2 inches if I'm lucky. So, well, it's been done before, means it can be done again. I'm gonna get back to work. Looking at the screw on the backside, it made me think that there had to be something right here, which I can see. Now, what I can't tell is if this is round, which I think it is. I don't think that it's flat. So that could just be the screw that comes in this way. You can see it from this angle over here. I can't really tell if this is circular or not, so I don't think I can get a socket on there, because I do believe it is circular. It almost looked like there was a place to put a Phillips head in there, but I believe that there isn't. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do, when in doubt, brute force it out. I'm just gonna rip on this end right here that's into the water pump. So I'm gonna yank that back and forth and see what happens, see if I can get it disconnected here, and then maybe that backside might be a smidge easier to get out. So we'll give it a shot. All right, so I'm trying to get to that bolt back here, and it's definitely gonna have to come through from the backside. I don't even know if I have a socket or anything that fits that, because it sticks all the way through and there's not enough room. So we'll figure that out in a little bit. However, what I'm trying to do here is I have this piece of hose here, right? And I can push it back and forth, and when I do that, it does wiggle. Okay, so when I pull it back this way, it comes off, it slides off a little bit, and then when I push it back this way, even though it moves, it goes further back onto the connector. So I don't want to break anything, but it does look like it's going to break in the back because it's rusted, and then, I mean, that's where my movement's coming from. So I'm thinking if I pull it all the way this way, right, this is what we have. We have this piece right here. This is the new one, so I can show you on here. Back in this area right here is where that's wanting to break. And then this is the piece that goes on here. There's some texture in here. It's a little rough. It's not threaded or anything, but there is something that would cause a grip. But I mean, we still have to go off like at least an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter almost, to make that happen. But I don't know how I'm gonna get to that back bolt, in all honesty. So I'm thinking if I go to this side, I give it a good push that way, maybe it'll come off a little bit more, and then maybe if we get the front piece off of this water pump right here, it'll be easier to, I don't know how it could possibly be easier to get to this bolt in the back, but you know, maybe it will be. So that's my hope right now. I mean, it's definitely twisting, right? Like, it's not a hose, so I can't just pull it off. I mean, it's pure metal. And at the same time, I'm not trying to mess with this fuel line here. I think I'm gonna try to break that off the back, right? Is that what we do? If we can't get to the bolt or the screw, that might be what we have to do. Because I can't get a ratchet in there. And if I did, I don't have a deep-seated ratchet or a deep-seated socket that would fit with that screw sticking out so far. So I think we break it. I mean, I'll go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. You see we got this thing at a crazy bent angle, but it's just about coming off of here. I would imagine it's like somewhere like right around here right now. So we got a little ways to go, but the main thing that I don't want to break is this piece right here, but I don't think that I will. It's just, it's metal, and I think that it would be very difficult to get this piece off of here if this piece was broken. But here in the back, where it is twisted all the way around, we could possibly break that, and then that might make our lives a little bit easier. So that's what we're gonna give a shot at, I think. Now on this side, it's not wanting to go anymore because this end over here is just about done with. I mean, it's coming off. There's rust. I got coolant coming now. All right, that coolant is spewing. We need to put a stop to that, like right now. Might have gone about this the wrong way. I just don't know if there is another way. You know what I mean? It's definitely going to be bigger than a 10 mil. At this point, I mean, there's a little gap in the back there. Oh boy, I have a huge, massive extension, and I got some other extensions I might attach to that. So I'm thinking we get this bad boy jacked up, put it on jack stands up front, and I mean, the front is already sky high. You can almost fit under there without it, but I say we get it jacked up, get it on jack stands, and try to come through right here over by the transmission and see if we can get to the bolt from there. I already looked under it and it's dripping coolant just straight down, so that might be the angle of approach. Worth the shot. I'm gonna have to have it on jack stands at some point anyway for the rest of the things that needs to be done to it, so let's let her rip. So I ended up losing a bit of coolant here from this hose because I'm trying to chomp through it and then maybe just come back with a DeWalt tomorrow, have easier access to drill that out. So I don't really have any fancy wire cutters. I've just been kind of working this back and forth, trying to cut through it with whatever I have on hand. And the plan is I get that chopped out, and then maybe I'll be able to get this out, get the other one in, and just keep it there for the time being. I've been slowly but surely eating away at this hose. It's about done for. I think we're super close. All right, got that off. Oh, shit. That's not good at all. Got a bunch of coolant coming out. So I've come up with this device, right? Because I've dropped the wrench one too many times. Got a couple hair ties from my car. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, I'm wrenching. Oh no, I dropped it? Wait, what? No, I didn't. She's right here. You know what I'm saying? Little. Work smarter, not harder, baby. So this is borderline comedy here, all right? I'm gonna cut most of this out. You won't see it because I don't want to bore you with unsuccessful attempts of me trying to remove this bolt, because that is just not gonna do it, because there's just no point in that, all right? So what I will tell you is that I've spent a lot of money on random tools trying to get this bolt out, and it has not worked. All you need is a 13mm wrench. I tried it. I took this hose, right? I got this little piece. I just bent it down all the way. And then I was able to get the wrench on here. A ratcheting wrench would be ideal. But we're just gonna have to go little by little. And it will in fact work. That is hilarious. The hope is that here in a minute I can get this loosened up by hand, because just a little half turn at a time. But in the end, all these expensive swivel tools and sockets that don't fit with the dual and trying to drill this out and everything else, nothing like an old school 13mm wrench to get it off. And that is hilarious, because on Japanese cars, they don't use a 13mm because 13 is an unlucky number. The number is bad luck in Japan. So it's only fitting that this 13mm bolt is what gives me the biggest problems that I've ran into on the vehicle so far. But I think that we have time to get this taken care of before sundown, even though we are extremely close. I'd never like doing a job, and especially on one of my off days, because I work a full-time job, you know? So I never like doing a job and leaving that job unfinished, because then I just feel like I wasted my time. There's no sense of pride and accomplishment. But we're gonna get this done today. It's almost out. I can get it by hand now. That was a long time in the making, and barely get it by hand. And just like that, there it is. Now that we got that taken care of, I am going to never put this bolt back in the car again. I will get a replacement, something a little bit easier, and I'm going to go ahead and get this coolant and metal shavings cleaned up.